Hey everyone, welcome to CodeProSeries. In this video, we are diving deep into .NET Unmanaged Memory, what it is, why it matters, and how to handle it the right way. You will learn how to write a finalizer, use the Dispose Design Pattern, and properly manage unmanaged resources with clear examples and real code in C#. Let's get started.
.NET automatically handles managed resources, managed memory, but you might sometimes work with unmanaged resources. So unmanaged resources are like resources that are outside the .NET runtime, outside the .NET environment and .NET framework or .NET runtime. So in such cases, you use Finalizer. And what is Finalizer? It's declared using a tilt followed by the class name like this. Okay, has no parameters, it's a parameterless, no access modifiers, no public private like this, nothing. So it just write in such a way, tilt then class name. Cannot be called explicitly.
So there is no way to write a code for to call a finalizer. You cannot write a code like tilt class name, so cannot be called explicitly. Finalizer called by garbage collector only just before object is destroyed. A garbage collector can take a responsibility of calling a finalizer.
Okay, now let's see in action how we can write a finalizer or how it can be called. So see, just I've created one console application which is named as a finalizer unmanaged resource, and within that I have created one class my resource, and in my resource class constructor is there. Within the constructor I just say write line resource created, and destructor is there. So this is nothing but a finalizer. So finalizer, we know that start with tilt and the class name, and within the finalizer I have written finalizer called cleaning unmanaged resource. So finalizer is called by the garbage collector before object is destroyed. So just before object is destroyed, the finalizer has been called. So let's see that. Actually, so I'm putting a debugger over here, and let's go to the program, and in the program main method, and in the beginning of the main method I will create the resource. In the resource I will create the object of my resource class. So here the object is created. So once this method is closed actually, so this object basically go out of the scope after the method returns, because in further there is no reference has been there or rooted or any reference is there for this object which was created in this method. So basically once it will be moved to the next line, the finalizer has been called or destroy that object, clean up the object. So and after that I have just called garbage collector. Even there is a method, if there any finalizer is pending, so it will wait for that and wait for pending finalizers has been called. So and at the end I write line end of main. So let's run this program and see how it works step by step. I will hit F11, it will get into the method line by line. So it will goes to and create the object, calls the constructor, right line, object is created, and then object now goes out of the scope, garbage collector hit, and now it will wait for pending finalizer to be called. So now this object finalizer has been called. It says right line finalizer called cleaning unmanaged resources, wait is done, and then right line end of a program. So exactly what we thought is exactly is doing the same thing. Resource created, finalizer called, cleaning unmanaged resources, because that object goes out of the scope, it's not referenced anymore. So garbage is collected and it's called the finalizer. That's the way the finalizer has been called. That's all we have in action in code for finalizer. Move to the next slide. So there are some notes. When finalizer is called, when the garbage collector determines the object is no longer reachable. Performance. So finalizer performance is slow down the garbage collection. Use them only if needed. Best practice. Prefer IDisposable and dispose pattern over finalizer for deterministic cleanup. So there is alternate way. You can also use IDisposable interface to call the dispose method of that interface. Non-deterministic, you don't know exactly when the finalizer will call, so it's on garbage collector. Garbage collector will decide when to call the finalizer. Let's move to the next slide. So examples of unmanaged resources in .NET. So this is important, like you want to know, right? I mean, what is unmanaged resources? So the types are, let's say, file handles. So if you're writing a file or reading a file, so you need to handle the file. So you need to create the object of file stream writer. Those are the classes. Those are the examples. So you will create an object of this and will start reading the file over there. So that represents the file opens on the system. Operating system allocates a handle when a file is opened. So these are the coming outside. These are the class are coming, libraries are coming outside the .NET framework. Other is database connection. So whenever you will create the database connection, which is SQL connection, those are going to the outside of the .NET environment. So underlying connection to database drivers or sockets. So even the sockets you are creating, the sockets, those are also going to the OS level sockets resources, which will transmit the data over the network. So those are also again coming outside the environment. Same for this, Windows controls are using within the other operating systems. So those controls will, like Windows Open, OS, Windows handles. So those are also any beat map, any like images, graphics, scans, brushes. Those are going to the GDI level outside the .NET framework. Memory allocation via interop services. So Marshall, all these are creating the interop services. So that allocates the memory outside the .NET environment. .NET heap is in native memory. Even COM objects also. So the COM objects interop services with Excel, Word, all these are COM interop to control network application. Timers and threads are going unmanaged threads, which are also wrapper over the managed one. So those are also native thread APIs. These all these types are the example of unmanaged resources in .NET. Okay, let's move to the next slide. So there is a alternate way to release unmanaged memory in .NET by using dispose method. So using Dispose Design Pattern with the help of IDisposable interface, we used call implement IDisposable interface and we will implement dispose method. So dispose method is used to clean up resource explicitly. Use with using. So there is a using statement within the .NET keyword using. We can also call automatically dispose. We can also dispose that object automatically. So this is the alternate way of releasing the unmanaged resource within the .NET framework. So what is the purpose? To release unmanaged resources like file handles, database connection, network sockets. We already saw the types.
It will help to avoid memory leaks in the application.
Next, move to, let's see some example before moving to the so let's create one class and see the example of the Dispose Design Pattern. So let's create one class within this application. We'll add class and I will name as file handler. I will name as file handler, not internal public, and I will implement IDisposable interface. Okay, private. I will create an object of unmanaged library, which is file stream, and I will say file stream, and let's do constructor. So in the constructor I will use that path actually as a parameter. So in the constructor I am passing a string which is nothing but a path of that file where it is residing, and this is the mode. I have to open and create actually like this. Okay, and then I will write some data within the file. So I will say write method and will pass a string to that method which is a data for that file, and I already created the object in the constructor, and then I will say write, and once I will convert into the bytes, that data string has been converted into the bytes, and then I will say write, and within the write I will pass that bytes. Then in the dispose method, that is the important actually here, I will have to dispose my object. So I will just call dispose method of that file stream. And that's it. That's all I have to do. So this line actually, what it will do, it will clean unmanaged file handle object. Okay, and whenever you will call the dispose, so you should say, I mean mostly you have to surface the finalize method actually. So this line number, what it will be called, it will just say not to call the finalize of this object. So that's why it will get surfaced. So this line of code functionality will not allow the finalizer to be called. Resources. So let's call it from the main program. So I will say file handler object new equals to new object, and then okay, I have to give a file name. So let's say I have one path, and within the desktop I have one file, text file like this. Here I will passing this path file name, and then I will call dispose, so it will release unmanaged memory, and then I will say start. So here it calls dispose. So now this will get disposed. Done. So you can see we have called the dispose method, but you can also make use of using statement, which is can be coded like this way. We have to copy, cut and paste, and within this using block we not need to add here actually, so it's not needed. So it will automatically called when we close in the closing statement of this using block. Okay, let's check it in action. So here its constructor has been called and it's closed. So see, on closing it's called dispose. Great. Looks great, yeah. So in that way we have written one file handle class which is implementing IDisposable interface. That is the example of Dispose Design Pattern. So let's move to the next slide. Why are they called unmanaged? Because the .NET garbage collector does not track or free them. So those libraries or resources or the code which was written outside the .NET environment or outside the .NET language and .NET framework, which not comes within that in the .NET, so those are not been get tracked by the garbage collectors or CLR, so they cannot able to free with the help of garbage collector. So that is unmanaged one. If not explicitly released, they may cause memory leak. So what is memory leak? We already discussed. Unmanaged objects like file handles, database connection or native memory allocations are not tracked by the .NET garbage collector. If not released explicitly using dispose, they remains in the memory. So even if you are not calling the dispose method, so they are going to remain in the memory itself. Over time, this unreferenced or unreleased objects cause memory to fill up, leading to memory leaks. So that's the way memory leak happens. What is the resource exhaustions? So in system resources like file, database connection or network sockets, they are limited actually in our system. If many instances are left undisposed, or you will not able to quickly get disposed or release them, so they are always be limited, so they are getting exhausted, so your application might fail to allocate new resources because of all are exhaust. Application crashes, so leaked unmanaged resources can lead to runtime exceptions, such as like too many open files are there, out of memory exceptions happens, socket timeout or database connection failures happen. So in this way the exceptions are not handled properly, so they may start crashing your application. So they are putting your application in unstable state, so it will throw the exception while running the during the runtime. So in this way application will crash. End of the today's session.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe to CodeProSeries. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss any new tutorials. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment below. I will be happy to reply. See you in the next video. And until then, keep learning and keep coding. See you.